Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the breakdown of the CC01 by Tamiya. Alright, I put up the video of a running video of this the other day, and I got a ton of questions. So the number one question was, how would I compare it to an SCX10? And I'm like, they're not even in the same class. This thing is a borderline shelf queen. It's not very capable, but it looks great. Like the recessed headlamps, the bumper lights, I believe, are aftermarket. The wheels are RC 4-wheel drive 155s with mud thrashers on them. They're not what comes on them as well. And then all the electronics have been upgraded, but right now I'm just going to show you a couple things. So it's called a bathtub chassis, right? So you got an independent front suspension. Well, I don't know if the bathtub chassis is the real name for it. That's what most people that I talk to that know about this truck refer to it as. But anyways, so bathtub chassis. It's got these big ugly links on it, which I'm sure can be upgraded fairly easily. And then there's also the battery I have. Well, we'll get to that when I take the lid off. So the front end is independent. The steering is, I believe it's called bell something, horn bell horn, something like that type steering. I forget. I'm sorry, I'm not a pro at this truck at all. This is new to me too, guys. The body is supposed to come off the back, because you see how those posts are through. You're supposed to put pins through. That's never going to come off, guys. It's on there. It's tough to get off. Buddy I got it off of said you're supposed to push on those and pull out with the body. I'm like, I hear things cracking and creaking. I found it easier just to go off the front. Poof. That comes off. So there's a light kit in it. Right now I have it cut because I haven't been using it and taking it on and off. It's stuck to the truck due to the waterproofing, right? So it's an aftermarket light kit there. There's a little bit of rubbing for the tires, but I don't care because it's a hard body, so the paint's never going to show on the outside. It's only inside rubbing, so who cares, right? You can see the little smoke. The mosquitoes are bad tonight, so I lit up one of those mosquito coilers. So anywho, back to the truck. So there's the inside of the chassis. As you can see, you can't see to the outside through the bottom of the truck. There's a little spot where it's been dremeled for either battery or motor before. I don't know. Again, it's a used truck, right? I got it off somebody else, and I've only ever seen them. Never did much research. I just mainly wanted it because of the body. But yeah, it's very limited in what you can do in almost every matter. Like the steering, if you take a close look at it, there's so many connections. I never counted them. There's got to be like 7 or 9 of them in there. And there's dual cranks. Bell crank? That could be the steering term. You know what? Come to think of it, I gotta be close. But anyways, down inside, there's 2 points where it pivots instead of 1 inside of there. I don't know how well that's gonna come out. But there's 2 points where it pivots in there instead of just 1. It's a very silly setup, but Crawler Ted and a couple other guys from PM Hobbycraft here in town have given me ideas of how to fix it, and there's things kits you can actually buy to upgrade the steering. Then you can see I got a Venom 2-cell in there. It normally wouldn't fit. It's made for, the battery cage is made for a Nimbat, so it's round. So I just took the Dremel, got it in there, and made it square. So the 2-cell slides in there, not easily, but it slides in there. And then it's got a 55 turn motor in it, and this is the same motor I was running there. And as you can see by the plastic housing that's around it, you can't move the motor much, so there's not much room for play at all to do anything with gearing. I haven't even had it out yet, but this is what I've been told by many people. Now that I own one, you look at it and you're like, yeah, man, there's like no motor movement there. So they're pretty much stuck with it. It's almost like an MOA. And then it's geared really funny. Like anyone who's ever driven, or even if you watch the videos or the video that I made of it, that's the best I can make this thing crawl, dude. It does not like going slow. It does not go slow. And then for an ESC, the ESC and receiver are both aftermarket, not stock stuff that came with it. So it's the AE1 from an AX10, I believe it would have been out of, and then a Hobby King ESC, I think they're like $6, but it connects to the Axial AX3 controller, so that's a bonus. So upgrades coming. I'm going to do a little bit with suspension, just put links on the rear, maybe move them back to here so the ground clearance gets better, but I like the idea of them coming up forward because it protects the diff better and drive shaft better. And then the front, leave that, I guess. Nothing wrong with that until it breaks, and we'll see what I do there. Steering's definitely got to be upgraded. And then if you put in like a 35 turn, the 35 turn cans are much shorter, right? So you get that in there, and then you can put a reducer on it. I have the reducer. It's, I forget the ratio, 3 to 1 or something. So it'd be like a 105 turn motor or something like that. But yeah, so that'd be a crazy ratio to run, but if that's what I got to do to enjoy this thing, that's what I got to do. Because right now it'll do donuts. Like, it's a heavy little truck, and she'll do donuts with a 55 turn in it. Like, it's just too fast. And again, maybe there's gear reduction for the diffs too. I don't know. I have to look into that too, I guess. But yeah, it needs some work, suspension wise, and body lift wise. There's not much, or if anything, you can do, guys. See, the body clips onto this front piece, so yeah, it screws in there. So you could, better view. It screws in there, so you could take those out, lift this up a bit, and put something in there to space it out. Then even these, you could go crazy and flip those over, or cut it off and glue it back together a little bit higher, cut those off completely and find a different way to mount it back. Like, there's tons of things you can do. The problem is you're stuck with the wells. The wells aren't going anywhere, so if you want to get away from that, you have to do a suspension lift. The suspension lift on the rear isn't too bad because it's solid axle, but if you go to do a suspension lift on the front, where it's got independent suspension, I don't know much about independent suspension, so nothing comes to mind about how easy it would be. I don't know how much crank you can get out of these front axles if you get a longer shock in there. Just try and raise it up a bit so you can get bigger tires on it. But you know what? If you go to CC01, you're buying it because it looks great and you can still trail it. But if you want it more for performance and still have a good looking truck, go for the c.rc01 or maybe one of the master built series like the Helix or the F350 or the Tundra. Those are all pretty capable trucks. Well, the tranny plate, if you know the tranny, it's 3-speed tranny in the Helix, and the other trucks, it sucks because it's got this big scoop that acts like a drag in the mud. But you know, this isn't terrible. I like it. It's nowhere near in the same ballpark as an SCX10. Like, it won't keep up with one. And then of course it's a little more fragile. So there you go. That's basically all I can tell you. If you've got any more questions of something I missed, post them up below. I'll do the best I can to answer them. I don't know if the gears are plastic or metal in the diffs. I'm just trying to think of things that you guys would be asking me. I'm just trying to get it all done in the vid before the questions started coming. Like, oh, why didn't I think of that? Blah blah blah. Oh, something else I just noticed earlier when I was looking at the truck. I like this part. This is cool. The mirrors are held in with a body clip, so you can pull that body clip and take the mirrors off if you're going out and rough and tumbling. Say you're going to be out with like Crawler Ted or SS Louie, where you know you're going to get dick moved even if you have a hard body. You can remove those items and save them for later. I have already busted off one of the lights, and man, it was geez, I had 3 or 4 beers, so it had to be a good hour and a half, 2 hours of searching the yard trying to find it, and through my rock course I've shifted every rock, and yeah, finally I found it. But yeah, that's basically the truck. The glass is removable, so you can get different glass for it. I plan to remove the plastic spare and put on a real tire. I don't know how I'm going to mount it yet. Look at that when it comes time. Yeah, other than that, I don't got much else. I don't plan on changing the body and leave it like that till it's totally destroyed, and maybe then paint it like my 1-to-1 that is still sitting in my yard smashed up that I'm willing to trade for an RTR SCX10, by the way. Alright. Yeah. Thanks for watching.